Welcome everyone to another episode of the Train Studio. I'm your host, Sean Morris. Just thought I'd put up a video as I was just working tonight. Seems that people have enjoyed the last few videos, so I thought, you know what, I'll just continue doing videos while I work and chatting. And if you enjoyed, you can listen to my musings, and if you aren't interested in what I'm chatting about, well, by all means, click on one of the other videos. Not sure what you guys can see on camera, what you can't, but I'm just working on this building here. I got a whole bunch more of icicles made here, and I'm just going to apply them to the building, and then I'm going to put some snow effects on there. Kind of things you guys have already seen, but I thought I'd just maybe show it kind of as not a tutorial, but sort of just a work in progress, basically in action shots. So a lot of you guys have expressed that you really enjoyed the Foy project, and I'm glad to hear that you enjoy what I'm doing. That's why I do it, and sure, it can be lucrative at times, but this is by no means my job. It'd be awesome if this was my job, but I got a pretty fun job as it is, so I will just stick to making the videos, and hopefully you guys can take some enjoyment out of that. So I'm just using, if you're curious, I'm just using the water effects stuff here and applying it like I showed in the tutorial. And I got some pre-cut icicles here. I got a section that's kind of got some really long icicles, so I'm just gonna put those on and see what that looks like. Of course, when I'm doing builds like this, everything doesn't always go perfectly, but that's to be expected. When you do a tutorial, you can kind of set it up so things are all nice and perfect and work for you, and if it doesn't, you do a retake. But live action, working in the studio, things don't go your way. I don't often start filming again. I just go with the flow and figure it out as I go. So I think this is gonna look pretty good. I'm not really sure if you guys can see that on camera, but perhaps not. It's hard for me to focus because I have the camera a little farther away from me, but you guys can see, I think, where I put the icicles on. So I'm just going to continue putting those on as I work. But just a couple other things to make note of. People were commenting about my video on the Volksgrenadiers and how they enjoyed the army talk, and looking at the books and things. I really enjoy talking about lists, and I do a lot of list making. So maybe some of you know I do captain up the captain Team Canada for the ETC. So obviously that involves a lot of talking about lists and various builds of different armies, even armies I don't play. So we do a lot of discussion about what's good and what we think will complement playing styles, because I think that's important to note, that an army needs to not only fit your your budget and your preference, but also your playing style. So if you're not an aggressive player, then I don't recommend tanks, because most times you will be attacking, and if you're not comfortable with doing that, maybe you like tanks but you're not comfortable as an attacking player, I would probably caution against actually taking a tank list. It just doesn't seem to make sense for you to want to play defensive but have tanks. Now, that's not to say you can't have tanks in an infantry list. If you like a particular model or a particular platoon, maybe taking an infantry list with that as a support option for you would be more appropriate than playing an armored list. So I think understanding what play style you have is as much of an importance as knowing what units you want to use. So you can take all the best units in the game, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have the best army. Likewise, you can take, some of the army or some of the units that perhaps aren't deemed the best, but talking about that synergy and play style, you can really make units do a lot of work for you, and really surprise yourself. Case in point, I had a unit of guns in my Volksgrenadiers. I played a couple playtest games. I was using the veterans, and my Hetzers in 3 straight games came out, failed to do anything in the turn they arrived, and subsequently perished in the following turns. And that's not to knock Hetzers. They're a great unit. Now, I ran them in my reluctant train list, and they were stars. In 3 games, I lost 1 tank. So, now what does that say? Does that say that veteran Hetzers aren't very good? Did I play them incorrectly? Were they not to my style? I will tell you that I built the Volksgrenadiers, the vet list, as more of a defensive list, and the reluctant train list I built more as a offensive list. And so the role that the Hetzers played in my list became very different. Just the Hetzers themselves, the compilation of them, did not change, but how I was using them and how I was playing changed drastically. And because of their role switching and using them for a different purpose, suddenly I found that the unit was so much better in my reluctant train list than it was in my confident veteran list. And that can hold true for many units. Something to consider when making your own lists. And certainly 1 or 2 playtests is not enough to tell you what units are the best or what units are going to work the best for you. But 1 or 2 games will certainly do a lot for determining what kind of style of player you are if you're not sure. And for me, I've been playing a long time, and maybe, I want to say